Have you noticed those pesky jar lids putting up more of a fight lately? Or perhaps finding it just a tad trickier to turn a key in the lock or fasten a button? It's one of those little things that can creep up on us, isn't it? Well, you're certainly not imagining things, and it's something many of us experience. Today, we're going to chat about something seemingly small but surprisingly important: our grip strength. Now, don't just brush it off as getting older. It's true, our grip might weaken a bit, but paying attention to it matters more than you might think. You see, researchers have found that our hand strength is often linked to our overall muscle health, our bone density, and even how our heart is doing. Tackling this isn't just about conquering stubborn jars. It's about holding on to our precious independence, feeling steadier on our feet, and maintaining that wonderful sense of comfort and well-being in our daily lives. It really is key to peace of mind. Hello everyone, lovely to have you here. I remember my dear friend Eleanor, a keen knitter, telling me how frustrated she was getting. Her hands ached more, and she kept dropping stitches. It really bothered her. We'll explore why this happens and share some simple, gentle exercises and habits. Things Eleanor found made a real difference quite quickly, helping her get back to her knitting with less discomfort. So, stick around as we unpack some easy ways to keep those hands working well for you. If you find today's conversation useful, please give the video a little like. It does help others find our chats. And if you enjoyed tips for living well in our later years, do think about subscribing so you don't miss out. Alright, let's talk about another change many of us notice. Do you ever find yourself feeling absolutely wiped out for days after doing something that used to barely faze you? Maybe it was a busy day with the grandkids, a bit of gardening, or even just getting over a simple cold. It just seems to take so much longer to get your energy back, doesn't it? You know, this slower recovery time is actually a pretty common sign that our bodies are, well, maturing. It means our internal repair crews, think our immune system, our muscles, even our heart and lungs, aren't quite as speedy as they once were. They need a bit more time to patch things up and recharge after we put them through their paces. Now, it's tempting to just push through, isn't it? We don't want to admit we're slowing down, but ignoring this can lead to trouble. You might overdo it and end up truly exhausted, or worse, risk an injury because your body hasn't fully recovered. It can really start to chip away at your ability to enjoy the things you love doing. Take my neighbor Arthur, for instance. We were chatting the other day, and he mentioned something else. He loves his gardening, always has. But lately, his usual Saturday session in the garden leaves him feeling completely drained, not just Sunday morning like it used to, but right through until Tuesday. He realized he just couldn't keep going like he was 20 years younger. So, what did Arthur do? He started listening to his body more. Instead of one long marathon gardening session, he breaks it up into shorter bursts throughout the weekend. He also makes a point of sitting down for a proper rest afterward, maybe with a nice cup of tea and something good to eat, like a boiled egg or some nuts, to help his muscles recover. And that's really the key advice here. Pay attention to what your body is telling you. Don't be afraid to schedule in more downtime. Prioritize getting a good night's sleep. That's prime repair time for your body. Staying hydrated helps everything run smoother, and eating well, lots of fruits, vegetables, good proteins, that gives your body the building blocks it needs to bounce back. Gentle exercise is still wonderful. It builds resilience, but ease into it and don't push yourself over the edge. It's about working with your body, not against it. You know, my dear friend Betty, always the picture of grace, pulled me aside the other day. She admitted she'd had a couple of close calls on her own staircase recently. Nothing serious, thank goodness. Just those little wobbles where you suddenly find yourself grabbing the banister a bit tighter than usual, or reaching out for a wall when you turn a corner. It's something many of us experience as we get older, isn't it? These subtle stumbles are needing a bit more support. It happens because, well, things change. Our vision might not be as sharp, our inner ear, which helps with balance, can get a bit less reliable, and let's be honest, our muscles aren't quite what they used to be. Now, it's tempting to brush these little moments off, thinking, oh, I just tripped a little, but ignoring them is risky. We really don't want to take balance for granted. A small wobble today could lead to a serious fall tomorrow, and nobody wants that. Falls can mean broken bones, hospital stays, and worst of all, losing that precious independence we value so much, affecting our confidence to get out and about. Betty, bless her heart, decided she wasn't going to let it slide. She found a gentle Tai Chi class specifically for seniors at the local community center. She tells me it's been absolutely wonderful. Not only does she feel much steadier on her feet, like she has better control when she's walking, especially on uneven ground, but she says the class itself is incredibly calming for her mind too. It's become a lovely part of her week. So, what can we do if we notice these little balance hiccups? It doesn't have to be complicated. Try simple things right there at home. Stand on one foot for a few seconds while holding onto the kitchen counter. Start slow and build up gradually. You could try walking a straight line in your hallway, placing one foot directly in front of the other, heel touching toe, like you're walking on a tightrope, but a safe one. Make sure your home is brightly lit, especially hallways and stairs, and clear away any clutter or loose rugs that could catch your feet. Getting your eyes and ears checked regularly is crucial too, as they play a big role in balance. And please, wear good, supportive shoes with non-slip soles, even when you're just pottering around the house. Every little bit helps keep us upright, safe, and confident. Alright, let's talk about something many of us notice as the years go by, our skin. Does it seem like you get a bruise just from looking at the furniture funny? Or maybe a little scratch takes its sweet time healing up? This is quite common. Our skin naturally gets a bit thinner as we age, and those tiny blood vessels underneath can become more fragile. It's usually nothing to fret about too much, just part of the journey. But it's worth paying attention to. While some change is normal, really easy bruising or wounds that just won't seem to close up can sometimes hint that something else is going on. It might be related to needing more of certain nutrients, like vitamin C or K perhaps, or maybe your circulation isn't quite what it used to be. And, of course, slower healing means we need to be a bit more careful about keeping any little cuts clean, because there's a higher risk of infection if we don't. Take my friend George, for instance. He's about 75 and loves helping out stacking books at the local library. But he started noticing these surprisingly large, dark bruises appearing on his forearms just from carrying the books around. Naturally, he got a bit concerned, as you would. He went along to his doctor, who checked him over thoroughly and thankfully ruled out anything serious. The advice was pretty straightforward. Try wearing long sleeves when he's handling things that might bump his arms, and make double sure he was getting enough vitamin C through his food or maybe a supplement. Simple things, really, but they made a difference for him. So, what practical steps can the rest of us take? Well, protecting our skin is definitely key. Using a bit of sunscreen, even on cloudy days, helps prevent further damage that makes skin more fragile. Applying a good moisturizer every day is also wonderful for keeping that skin barrier healthy and resilient. And maybe just take a quick look around your home. Are there tight corners or pieces of furniture you often seem to bump into? Sometimes a little rearranging can save you quite a few black and blue marks. Eating well, making sure you get plenty of those vitamins and minerals that are good for skin health and repair, always helps too. And listen, if a cut or scrape seems to be taking an unusually long time to heal up properly, don't just brush it off. It's always best to mention it to your doctor at your next checkup, just to be on the safe side. Alright, let's talk about something subtle, something you might not even notice at first, your walking pace. Have you ever been out for a stroll, maybe with family or friends you used to keep pace with, and found yourself falling behind just a little? Or perhaps that walk around the block just seems to take a bit longer these days. It's not always a conscious decision to slow down. Take someone like my friend Margaret. She's always been active, loved her morning walks in the park. She didn't think she'd changed much, but one day her daughter gently mentioned, "Mom, you're not quite the speed demon you used to be." Now, Margaret wasn't terribly bothered at first, but it got her thinking. And you know, there's a reason doctors and physical therapists pay attention to walking speed. They actually see it as a key indicator of our overall health as we get older. A noticeable, unintentional slowdown can sometimes signal underlying things we need to look at, maybe related to our heart, muscle strength, joints, or even balance and nerve function. Ignoring it can eventually limit how much we get out and about, affecting our independence and social life. So, what did Margaret do? She started small. While watching television, she began doing simple leg lifts and paying more attention to standing and walking tall, engaging her core. She found focusing on her posture actually helped her feel a bit steadier and pick up the pace naturally, without straining. It's a good reminder for all of us. The best advice is simply to keep moving. Regular walking, even if it's not breaking any speed records, is fantastic. Try adding some simple leg strengthening exercises into your routine. Things you can even do while seated, like those leg lifts Margaret did. Or maybe some gentle chair squats if you feel up to it. And pay attention to that posture, walk tall. Of course, if you notice a really significant drop in your speed, or if walking becomes painful or difficult, that's a definite cue to have a chat with your doctor or a physical therapist. They can help figure out what's going on and suggest the right steps for you. Alright, let's talk about tuning into our bodies. Sometimes the signals are subtle, just little whispers. But paying attention can make all the difference. Take balance, for instance. Feeling a bit less steady isn't just a minor thing. Ignoring it increases fall risk, which can really impact our independence. It's often linked to things we can address, like muscle strength or inner ear issues. My friend Martha, 79, noticed she felt wobbly reaching for high shelves. She brushed it off, then she nearly slipped getting out of the bath, a real wake-up call. So, if you feel unsteady, please mention it to your doctor. And maybe try simple balance exercises, like standing on one leg while holding a counter. Every little bit helps. And what about energy levels? Remember George from our walking group? About 75, usually full of life. But he started skipping afternoon walks, saying he was just too tired by midday. He figured it was just age. But that kind of persistent fatigue isn't always just getting older. It might be linked to nutrition, sleep, or even things like anemia or thyroid function. Feeling drained stops us enjoying life fully. If you're unusually exhausted for weeks, don't just accept it. Note when you feel tired and talk to your doctor. Sometimes a simple checkup can find an easy fix. Listening to these whispers isn't about worrying, it's about staying proactive with our health, making small changes to keep enjoying life. Well now, that about wraps up our little discussion on those quiet signals our bodies send us as we add more candles to the cake. It's certainly not about fretting over every single wrinkle or misplaced set of keys. Goodness knows, I could write a book on that last one. It's really more about cultivating a kind awareness, don't you think? Just noticing, being mindful of our own health is such a cornerstone of aging gracefully. It allows us to spot potential issues early on. Maybe make those small tweaks that keep us feeling our best. You know, perhaps noticing climbing the stairs feels a bit more effortful than it used to. That's not a failure, it's just information. Maybe a little nudge to incorporate some simple chair exercises or perhaps choose the ramp sometimes. Staying active is crucial for senior fitness, but it certainly doesn't have to mean training for the Olympics. For me, it meant realizing my jogging days were behind me. But discovering the real joy in daily brisk walks and spending more time in the garden wrestling with weeds, surprisingly good exercise. Finding what you enjoy, what keeps you moving, that's the heart of healthy aging. It's about adapting and thriving, whether you're navigating your 60s, 70s, or beyond. We all share that desire to live fully and maintain our independence, and that involves aging well by being proactive. This health awareness empowers us. So keep listening to your body, keep finding ways to stay active, and please do share your journey. If this chat resonated with you, a thumbs up is always appreciated, and consider subscribing for more conversations like this. I truly enjoy reading your thoughts in the comments. What changes have you noticed, and what works for you? Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Stay well, and I hope to see you again very soon.